Hey y'all, welcome to the Undrunken Podcast. I'm your host Courtney, and each week we talk real life beyond the bottle. What it means to dump the drink, live life fully, freely, and undrunken. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Today we're getting into a topic that so many of you messaged me about, and it's something that came up in my last interview, which was with one of my longest known friends. And honestly, I think it's something I avoided talking about for these past years because it felt complicated. But that's kind of funny because it's actually very simple. Just because I didn't have a problem doesn't mean drinking wasn't a problem. What do I mean by that? Okay, so people are still learning to wrap their heads around other people choosing to live alcohol free, and people will still look at me and go, "Oh, you must have had a problem," or "Wait, but you weren't an alcoholic." And it's like that's the only reason someone would ever stop drinking, you know? Like, why would you quit? And we've been trained to see drinking in these weird binary terms. Either your life is on fire or you're totally fine. Nothing really in between. But almost everyone lives in the in between. For example, I've interviewed over 50 people, and 74% of them chose to dump the drink for everything from a medical reason to just feeling better after a dry January. Maybe they didn't wreck a car, but they felt the damage drinking was doing. Maybe they didn't need detox, but their life was less toxic without alcohol. The gray area, the space where things aren't catastrophic, but they're not aligned either. For me, I was successful, I was social, I was just fine. But fine isn't the same as thriving. No, there wasn't a dramatic moment, there wasn't a meltdown. Okay, maybe there were a few meltdowns, but there weren't arrests, there wasn't hospital bracelets and wrecked cars. What I had was a slow building realization that just hit one day like a truth bomb. I wasn't losing everything, but I also wasn't gaining anything. My life was good, but alcohol was making it less good, and I wanted more than just fine or not bad. So maybe alcohol didn't burn my life down. I still felt right to question it. And here's the truth: you don't need a rock bottom, you don't need chaos. Your curiosity is enough. So let's talk about that subtle stuff, the stuff that the world tells you doesn't matter, even though it absolutely does. Like waking up feeling just slightly off, anxiety that you assume is just part of your personality, needing a drink to loosen up on dates or at networking events, feeling a little less confident without a drink in hand, not fully hearing intuition because everything's kind of fuzzy. And how about those micro self betrayals where you say, "I'm not going to drink tonight," and then you do anyway? None of that screams rock bottom, but it does whisper very quietly, "Hey, something here isn't working." And then there's the weekend recovery cycle, which I'm not going to get it deep into today because I'm planning a whole episode on time budgeting and what happens when you account for the hours spent drinking, recovering, hanging in bars. And spoiler, it's shocking the time drinking robs of you. But back to this. While I didn't quit drinking because I had a problem, I quit because I wanted a better life. That was it. No drama, no labels. And hey, we don't question this in any other area of life. If you say, "I don't eat mayonnaise," nobody questions you. You don't need heart disease to decide you want to eat better. You don't need to crash your car to decide you want to drive safer. You don't need your hair falling out to use a better shampoo. Like, you're allowed to choose better before things get bad. You're allowed to choose better even if things are already good. You're allowed to choose better simply because you want better. It's not dramatic, just better. Better in the way you notice in the mirror or in your relationship, in your mornings, your attitude, in your momentum, in your self trust. So if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, maybe alcohol isn't destroying my life, but I don't think it's helping either, I want you to hear this. You're allowed to explore that. You're allowed to take a break. You're allowed to question your relationship with alcohol. You're allowed to change your relationship with alcohol without needing to justify it or explain it or label yourself. Your desire for better is enough. Your curiosity is enough. And your life does not need to be falling apart for you to want more from it. So if this resonated, maybe you share it with a friend who might be quietly questioning their relationship with alcohol. Maybe there's a break during the holidays or a dry January is on the horizon. And stay tuned for that upcoming episode where we'll do the whole full time audit, the hours drinking and recovering that sneakily drain your life force and your momentum. Hey, it's eye opening in the best way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing yourself. And as always, stay undrunken. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. You can tag me on Instagram at Undrunken Podcast. I love hearing from you. Take care of yourself and keep making good choices.